And then you just started singing it.
Were you on the terrible
Yeah.
YouTube? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
because I searched one sing video this morning.
Okay. Okay. Well, it
Okay.
felt like it was psychically connected, but I guess not. I guess not.
Okay.
Okay. I
That was
thought it
it.
was. I thought it was. Well, Marcel, what is this? What are we doing?
Um, well, here we are for office hours.
Okay.
10:24. How are you doing this morning? Do you have
Oh
a
my
day
God.
good?
I feel, look it, we're running this like a real office meeting, and by that we mean what happens at meetings in corporate offices. People just waste time, but there is an agenda. And so we're going to start with some personal updates. Um,
Yes.
I'm in
Yep.
I'm in just a shitty Airbnb, Marcel, or crappy because we're not supposed to swear. I'm in a crappy Airbnb in Chicago. I
Okay.
am not a good traveler, as you know. I'm certainly not a good work traveler. I packed maybe 20 minutes before I left for the airport. I did not bring several things that were very important. I didn't bring pants for the book event that I'm doing tonight.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be wearing the jeans that don't make any sense with the shirt that I packed, but that's okay. Um, this Airbnb, I got hoodwinked, I got bamboozled, I got Airbnb bamboozled, is what I got. You know
Led
what?
astray.
Yeah. So one of the descriptions of it was that it's bright, and that's certainly true. Cozy? No, not
Mm,
cozy.
mm.
Unless you count the fact that there's 6 inches on either side of the bed to get like between the wall and the bed. I was like, I'm too wide to get into the bed. Like
Mm.
I can't get into the bed. And the pillows are bad and the blanket is bad. And then I got here at like 10 o'clock at night and there was no key in the lockbox.
Mm. So how'd you get in?
I had to DM and I was like, hi, there's no key in the lockbox. And like she didn't reply. I was like, okay, I'll just, it's 10 o'clock at night, but whatever.
Right.
Um, and then, I just talked to Ralph for a little bit on the phone. And then I was like, okay, I still haven't heard back. So I sent in a like call. And I'm like, hi. And she's like, who is this? I was like, oh, I sent a message. I'm staying at the Airbnb, but I can't get it. She's like, fine. And just hung up. And then
Okay.
I was like, okay. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, a van pulled up and she was like, "Ugh, this has never happened." I was like, okay, I didn't do it. Like, but I was like, okay, yeah,
Right.
it happens, what are you going to do? So then I get in and I was just like, and then there was no blow dryer, even though I always check to make sure that's a listed amenity. Like it said, like there would be body wash. I always travel with my own shampoo and conditioner. I got a deal, but the deal got me. That's what happened. The deal got me. It's
Yeah,
a great
sometimes it's
area.
better.
Yeah.
Are you still sold on Airbnbs or are you? Because
No.
I was like the Airbnb king, and then now I'm like,
No. I avoid
I'll stay
them.
at a hotel.
I avoid them. I avoid them. I prefer a hotel, but all the hotels like for these past few nights were super expensive or they were just like inconvenient to the actual thing I'm doing while I'm here. So I'm literally like 2 minutes away from. Oh yes, they do. They've got the home goods decorations here. I'm telling you that much. But I'm like I could like throw a baseball and like hit Kate Kennedy's house, which is great. So it was very easy for me to go over to her house yesterday and do some recording. Um, but yeah, it's just
Okay.
like the least comfortable bed. Anyways, I haven't slept in 2 nights. I love to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love to sleep. I love to
Love
sleep.
a good slumber.
I, I love to slumber. I love to slumber. I've been falling asleep at like 2 a.m., which is like midnight my time, which is very late. I would never fall asleep that late. So it's just, so I'm thriving is what I mean to say,
Hey,
I'm doing
you
good.
you made it. You made
I
it.
made it. I made it.
You're
I made it.
there. You're doing
Yep.
something. There will be an event.
There will be an event tonight for Kendra Adachi's book, The Plan, and she's going to
Mm,
come here when she lands. So I've got like she'll be here in like an hour and a half. So we'll be done with this in an hour. And so then I'm going to record with her. So we're going to make a little bonus episode for our patrons because she wrote a really helpful book about time management and productivity that's like not shamey like so many of the
Yeah.
books are, and not about just like, oh, like we all have as many hours in the day as Beyonce. Like, no, we don't. Um, no, some of us actually have like fewer hours. As you know, you don't have the same number of hours in your day as Beyonce, you know?
Yeah. That's why it's like when people are like, I get up every day at 4 and do this,
Like,
this, and that. And I'm like, I think you sleep really well. Like,
yes.
like I think some of these people, they sleep really well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Um,
it's easier to get up at 4 if you go to bed at like 7 p.m.
right. They got a
And also,
hyperbaric oxygen chamber that like
yeah.
delivers more oxygen to their brain when they're
And like some of
sleeping.
this stuff is just like not that healthy anyways. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Right.
You know?
So why are you guys in Chicago if you're both not from? So is this like her
Yeah.
only event, or is
No,
this you're just
this
happen
is
to be
like,
on
I
the
think,
Chicago?
this is the end of her book tour. This is like
Okay.
maybe one of her very last events. So they kind of like sprinkle them throughout the country. And then she asked me to like come and have the conversation with her. And I was free. And oh my God, today's my mother-in-law's birthday.
Mm,
Um, gotta, um, I woke up knowing that. And
yeah.
then,
It's isn't it great when you just wake up and you're like, oh yeah, it's someone's.
yeah.
It's
Um,
my
yeah.
parents' birthday.
Yeah, and then but I was like, I knew that. I knew that all week, and then sometimes it's like I'll know something all day, and then I still won't.
Say
It'll it'll
anything or
it'll still
yeah.
get away from me, and I'm like, no, but I knew all day, and I was thinking
Yeah,
about it
yeah,
all
but I
day.
knew.
I
Okay, they didn't
knew.
know. They had to
They
go on
didn't
like
know.
Facebook or something.
I knew because I put it in my calendar, and I've been thinking about it. Okay, so I was
Yeah,
ready. I knew.
yeah.
What's on your updates?
Um, yeah, I see Patrick. All right, Patrick P says he's leaving to early vote.
Yay!
I also voted early already, and part of the reason why I voted so I can talk shit about politicians. Because I've heard people use the argument, well, if you don't vote, you don't get a
Yeah,
say. So I went extra early. If you guys
just to
need, I
get
can
a
go and
say.
yeah, I can go find the sticker. I looked up the issues. I looked up and tried to align all my selections with the better. I don't do the lesser of two evils. I just say like if there's two people in a race or three people in a race or six people in a race, if I don't like any of you, I'm just not voting on that issue or whatever. Or I
Mm,
mean if someone's like egregious, then I'll vote for someone, I guess. So yeah, I guess I sort of participate in lesser of
yeah.
two evils. But um
That's not your goal. Your goal is not
n-
like, let's see who's just the least evil.
no, and one thing that's crazy, only I voted so diversely that I think only on the entire ballot, maybe two people shared the same party.
Damn. Wow. Darn.
So, and that's after looking at it and looking
Yeah.
into it, and in some cases, and so that
Yeah.
was good. I think diversity of thought is that's not why I did it. I just
Yeah.
looked it up and I was like, oh, this libertarian
Yeah.
somehow is
He's doing
gonna be a
something for
great
me. Yeah.
representative, or whatever. So
Yeah.
that was cool. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what happens with that. The other thing about voting early is there were a lot of people there. There was a lot of
Mm,
people there, and I voted last week, and I kind of felt a little bit offended because when I walked up to the building, the guy was like, "Hey, you looking where to vote?" And I'm like, "Why didn't you ask anybody else who was walking in here?
yeah.
Why did I look lost to you?" Where and
Yeah.
there's a clear sign on the door that says like vote here, and it's like a
Yeah.
very obvious like in a business district thing somewhere near downtown.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit offended, but I got it done.
Got it
I
done.
got it
Yeah.
done. And I wonder what happens when, I mean, I know what happens, but like when you're voting for judges and there's only an incumbent,
I
do are you
know.
supposed to do it or just like leave it alone, especially if you're not like super sold on somebody? Like
Yeah.
what's the proper protocol?
Um, yeah, I don't know. But that's like most of the finding information on judges is actually really hard, or at least it is in Arizona. So I think that was like I have we vote by mail. I mean, you can vote in person, but like we voted by mail. I brought Sophie her ballot this past weekend so she could
Yeah.
vote for the first time, and it took us the longest to go through the judges.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Um,
But that's dope that you got to go through that experience
oh yeah, and
before.
like I
Like
brought
that's
like all the voter guides so we could like read all the propositions because they are kind of like written in like a confusing way too. And if all you do is read the signs, and it's like, vote yes, save our restaurants, and then you look at the uh, actual bill and you're like, no, that's not what it is. Like,
yeah, what's the new I don't know if I put that on the agenda. There's a
yeah,
new DOD thing. Okay, yeah, John says Libertarian Party in New York endorsed Trump. Hey, listen, I don't feel as strongly about Trump as most people do. I know that's like
mm,
very bad to a lot of
yeah,
people. I don't feel that strongly. And most of the people in my circle don't feel that strongly about Trump or Kamala Harris, and
yeah,
there are multiple other parties to vote for the presidency. I don't know if we all know this, but
yeah.
a lot of us talk about lesser of two evils, and I'm not gonna stick into the whole politics thing because I know it's what are the three things you're not supposed to talk
I think
about.
religion, politics, and money.
Let's talk about religion, politics, and money today. I want to go there. I would say that I think there's other options, and I think that as I'm not the most educated person in the world, nor the smartest, nor the wisest, but I will say that I think if all of us who are like, well, I gotta vote for
Yeah,
Kamala or I gotta vote for Trump because he's better than whatever your thing is
yeah.
because this person's better than the other person in your eyes, but you don't actually like them. We could all stop that today. Like we could all just
Hmm.
say no. There's a Jill Stein. There's this. We could all start that today. Just not doing that
Yeah.
anymore. But we
Yeah,
all
I'm
collectively
actually not
decide.
registered to any political party
Oh,
for that
okay.
reason. Because I was just
Mm.
like, I just,
The DFL still emails me no matter what I do.
no matter what, no matter what. Yeah, but I'm
Oh
just,
gosh.
I'm not gonna commit in that way. And also, I just don't like, I think
Mm.
anytime like there's a binary, like there's, uh, it's just like it doesn't really help. And that's a person who,
Whoa.
and this is coming from like a person
Is it
who,
just me?
are you, wait,
Oh, okay.
you
You
can
just
hear me?
you yeah, you blanked out for a second. I didn't
Did
know if it
I?
was just me or did everyone not hear me for like 30
Okay.
seconds or was it
Oh
more?
no, did I just cut out? Okay.
Yeah, for
But yeah,
like
I just think
10
like
seconds.
I think like any sort of binary, and I love a binary, right? I'm like, oh, something's right, something's wrong. Like it's very addictive. It's also like a little it's a little childish. It's a little childish. And it also just like creates like so much like us versus them, which is not helpful, but somehow like gives you a false sense of productivity, or I don't know what it is, but yeah, so I'm not registered to any party because I'm like, nope, sorry, I'm just not like a joiner in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
joiner. I'm like it.
It's a
But
touchy thing right now though. Listen, I got into a oop. I don't know if
oh,
it was when I was coming back from
God dang
was it something with you? When was the last time I was on a plane? I don't really remember. It was somewhere I don't know. I was coming
it.
back
Yeah,
on a plane from somewhere and I remember getting in the it must have been the crew. No, it was just Janae and I don't know. we were coming back in an Uber, and the dude just starts like lighting us up in the car, saying like, like you're definitely voting for Kamala Harris, right? And he just like was just like he was just like reading me off all these like points, and he kept saying, what's the phrase that everyone has used? It was like scary. I felt like, you ever seen that movie They Live? I
Not if it's scary. I don't see scary movies
it's like where the
typically.
guy puts on the glasses and he sees society for what it is, and there's like all this marketing and all the, billboards, and like
Yeah.
people are zombies or whatever. But it was literally like this dude was just saying, what did he say? Like the greatest threat to our democracy or something. And it was like something I had kept hearing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the greatest threat to our democracy, the greatest threat. And I was like, I don't know if it's the greatest threat to our democracy. I don't know why I'm not a doomsdayer.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think that either one of these people getting elected is going to be. Jill Stein is the reason we got Drumhead to begin with. Bernie voters were so butthurt over Hillary, they went for Stein instead. Oh yes, my
Uh,
favorite troll, my green envy.
not
Yeah.
a troll. Not a troll. Not a troll.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. My
Yeah.
favorite commenter, my green
Yeah.
envy. Um. So yeah, what else is a good
Yeah. Well, I'll be
update?
voting. So I'll be voting next week. I'll be voting next week. I think
Okay.
everybody should if you can. Um, and I mean, I
Did,
don't know. I think it's probably helpful to not be like a doomsdayer because I actually think like despair is a uh like a poison, you know?
yes. Yes. Did you
Yeah.
go to your city council
Oh, no,
thing or
because it was
whatever, or is that
yesterday. So it
okay?
was, so my city council thing, this is great. Are we moving into, here's the thing. I made this like a meeting, okay? Okay, we've got, what's everything that I came up with? It's been a
Oh
while since I've
yeah.
worked in an office.
So status update,
That was our
the
status
water
update.
cooler. Yep.
Okay,
The
I think we
water
should, I think
cooler.
we'll go a little out of order and we'll do a little circle back. Okay, we're gonna
Okay.
circle back. We're gonna circle back to whatever you just brought up, which I already forgot.
You going to the city council meeting.
Okay, yes. Okay, so the city council um, meeting was yesterday at 10 a.m. Phoenix time, but I was here and it was noon and I was recording with Kate at that time. But uh, I sent an email to my city council person last week because I don't know if you saw this TikTok, uh, but it was like from CBS, and there was like a body cam footage of two Phoenix cops who had pulled over, or I don't know, they'd responded to a call. The call was not about the black man that they ended up beating.
Hmm.
And he had cerebral palsy and he was deaf. So he couldn't hear their commands. And like the footage is so it's very disturbing. And my city council rep is a, former cop, and he's on the safety, like the public safety and justice board.
Okay.
And meanwhile, like my kid's school doesn't have like a crossing guard or like, like a patrol car, even though people are going like 45 in a school zone, like literally straight through the crosswalk. And the cops wanted us to pay for someone to show up. I was like, no, you just show up. That's your
Mm.
job. Like, why would I pay? Why would we pay for it? Like, you already get paid.
Right.
So, God, my hair is so dry and crispy. Oh God. Oh God. Yikes. Um, so I emailed them about that. And then I also called the Phoenix Police Department because I was like, I want like a copy of this like investigation that was launched.
Hmm.
Um, so I called to get it, and they were like, "No, you actually have to call this other phone number to get it." But I did. I emailed my city council person. I was like, "Hey, just wondering, like, of all the, I get an email from you every month, and you talk about so much, but you never, ever, ever talk about like the subcommittee that you sit on. Like, there's a
Mm.
Department of Justice report. that said like empirically that the Phoenix police like use like uh, it that they disproportionately target people of color and use excessive force with people of color. So,
Mm, that's new.
yeah, brand new. And she was like it was just the strangest interaction with this woman who was a lieutenant. She was like, "Well, I've been doing this for 26 years. I've never heard someone say like, let's get that guy because he looks this way." And I was like, "Yes, not everything is like out loud."
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
I
"Okay,
mean, duh.
yeah." I was like,
Like, why
"Yeah,
would you? It's
yeah,
not. It's not like 1940 or
yeah,
something like
yeah."
that.
I was
Like,
like,
yeah, why would you?
So anyway, so I should get that. I should get that soon. Because I'm just like very interested in it. And then she just kept telling me like how, like she was so surprised that he did this because he's just such a nice guy. And I was like, well, I think like niceness and kindness or like whatever integrity is like what you do when you think no one's looking. And he didn't turn on his camera, like
Right,
so. Like
right.
I was like, so I don't know. You have to ask yourself, what is he doing when the camera's off? And how often has he done this? But like to people who
Yeah,
aren't like me and won't call because they don't feel like they could or for whatever reason. So
yeah. All that nice politeness stuff
yeah,
is just in general. That's a whole nother like
yeah,
social ill is politeness. Minnesotans know that very well.
yes, they do, they do, they do. So yeah, I think I'll go to the next one. And also my city council person does uh like monthly like coffees at like this little cafe near our house. They're always scheduled for when I'm out of town.
Okay.
Strategic much, but I'm going to go to the one in January because I know I'll be in town for that one. But
Okay.
like I'm
That's
just
good.
wondering, I'm just asking questions, and I
You're
think
better
that
than most of us.
if you feel, well, I just feel like the antidote to despair is like action, and
Mm,
like on it's going to be okay this week. We have like a whole week of like reassuring or like like calming pre-election uh uh, pep talks basically from Sammy Sage and Emily Annick, who wrote the book Democracy in Retrograde, which is about like civic engagement. And most it's like Phoenix is like one of the biggest cities in the country, like population wise. And the
mm.
last city council meeting I tried to go to, I was foiled. They canceled it. I was like, okay. And then it was online instead. I was like, okay. And there weren't that many people watching, and there weren't that many citizens like there to speak either. And I'm like, and granted they are during the workday, but I was like, oh yeah, I could just go to these. Like I could just be a person who like goes to these.
Yeah, I think that's how stuff goes undetected is like no one shows up and like people bank on you not
Yeah.
showing up or like other people not running like I said
Yeah.
with the incumbent like the judges or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
no one else is going to get elected. This person's
Yeah.
going to be there until they die.
I know. Which I think
Uh
also lifetime appointments are so bizarre too. Like I think it's weird. I think every Supreme Court justice is like basically a sociopath. I think it's crazy to want to work till the day you die. I think that's weird.
hmm I'm gonna have to think about that. I had a professor in college that he swore he was like in his 70s and he swore
Yeah.
like he wanted to just work
Yeah.
until he's like, I will never retire. He was from Tanzania and he was one of my favorite professors
Yeah.
and he'd be like, I'll never retire. He's like, that's just discrimination against aging people.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I was like, oh, all right.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. Okay.
he's like, I'm just gonna do something. But the thing is, he was gonna do something else. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, go and tutor some kids at the local school or something. That's a way to still
Yes.
work, or like go work at the
Yeah.
library, read, to
Yes.
like a classroom or children or something, do like a theater class or I don't know.
Yeah. My dad wanted to retire and then be a substitute teacher. And
Mm.
Marcel, I almost said you knew my dad, but in a way you did. Spiritually, I feel like you know my dad. Like, can you imagine that man dealing with like modern teenagers? He would be, he'd be like a TikTok legend. They'd be like, wow, this grizzled veteran came in and yelled at us all for not understanding Latin. Like, just,
Yeah, yeah. I like the spirit of your father, and I feel
Yeah,
like he would agree with me that participation trophies are what has
he would.
destroyed
He would.
all of
He would.
Western society. No more participation trophies. I can see him
Yeah.
like snapping on a kindergartner.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. 100%. But I was like, okay, you think you, the
uh,
least patient man I've ever met, you're gonna like be a
mm.
substitute teacher for high schoolers.
Oh yeah,
Like,
well, yeah. So high school, he
yeah.
might. Yeah, he could. I could see him building. You need a vast array of personalities, and you
It's
kind of
true.
need that not complete lack of empathy, but basically you need someone who
You
just is
need,
like,
yeah.
to because that's the fire that burns within you to progress to progress where we don't know, but
We don't know,
like
but you're going somewhere.
it'll keep pushing you somewhere in life. Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone, we Nora came up with the idea to have these segments, so we have our status updates. The next
Yeah.
thing on the agenda is the water cooler, and
Yeah.
so when we get to the water cooler, we talk about the things that we would always talk about, which is our trending topics, what the word
Hmm.
around town is. So if anyone has
I have
any
one.
topics, we have a few. Um,
I have one.
oh, okay, yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Nora.
Ooh, ooh,
Thanks
ooh,
for raising
ooh.
your hand.
Okay. Everybody needs to go watch this documentary on, God, is it Hulu or Peacock? One second. Do, do, do. Hold on.
All right, Grace, I'm about to light you up for saying Riz and Skibbity, and
My
I'm
dad,
just
my
gonna
dad would
allow.
lose his mind.
I'm just
Lose his
gonna.
mind. Claire and I are actually not sisters; we're cousins. And okay, it's on. What is it on? Oh, Peacock. Okay, so it's on Peacock. It is a documentary of this writer from Grey's Anatomy who
Okay.
who was then an executive producer, so really high up on the show, wrote some of their like most popular episodes, and had pulled from her lived experience as a person who had, very serious cancer, and a person who, had been, connected to the Tree of Life shootings in Pittsburgh, and a person
Oh
who had
shit.
experienced, sexual harassment at work and blah, blah, blah. And she made it up.
Wait. What?
She made it up.
Oh, wait a minute. What was this article in again? Was it Variety or
It
what?
was
Where
it
was
was
the
in
article?
Vanity Fair like a
Vanity
year ago, maybe
Fair.
maybe two
Yeah.
years ago, and then it was in, and then it became like this documentary, and I've like the this woman and I've been following each other on Instagram for a long time because
Mm.
my husband died of cancer and she had cancer, and but she didn't have cancer, and I am fascinated by it, obviously, because everybody is fascinated by, you know, um, this kind of uh,
Whew.
this kind of behavior, right? Like facetious, Munchausen, whatever it is. And I think like the hardest part about the article, but the hardest part about the documentary is like she sent herself to PTSD, like inpatient therapy, to deal with the Tree of Life shooting that she helped clean up. Uh, but what she didn't, and she met a woman there, and they got married. This woman had 5 kids, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And so it's like this affected
Hmm.
like these kids' lives too, and this other
Right.
woman's life, and like this other
Right.
woman had just like gotten out of an abusive marriage, and her husband was like it was a lot. It's a lot. And the woman who made this up is like obviously like suffering like the repercussions of it, and like the consequences of your actions. And she posted this thing on Instagram that was like, I'm not, I know that I'm not like the worst things I've ever done. And I agree with that. And also I'm like, yeah, I don't, I'm like, yeah, no one's all one thing or all like another thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But isn't it like the older you get, you kind of are your one thing? You
yeah, I think
like
so. Yeah, I don't
at
know.
what point in
Ugh.
life do you get
Yeah. Yeah.
like at
And I
what
think
point can
like,
we say you make a decision past a certain age where we're
yeah,
like you can repent in a way,
yeah,
but that should still be something roughly like on your jacket or on
yeah,
your lapel that we're
yeah,
just aware of. You know what I mean?
yeah. Look, it's like I don't know how you like I don't know how you atone for something at that level because, like there were, accusations made about other people that, are that
Mm.
like were affected by this. And, there were people in that writer's room who were writing scripts for her because she was too sick from chemo and turning the script in under her name, which is like, that could be like $50,000, you know? And then plus like the residuals. Like, so it's like there were like it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's
Sheesh.
a lot. So I
Yeah.
feel like kind of, I feel like a little strange about it too, because it's like, well, obviously I know about this. I haven't like unfollowed her because like, I don't know her. Like I
Right.
just have like followed her online for a long time.
Right.
Um and I'm like, it has to be very uh difficult to have like everybody know this thing about you, but it's also like I think the disturbing thing is like the way that she like really courted all the attention, right? She said like
Yeah.
she put out this like video about like, oh, how she had to get, an abortion when she was going through chemo because she had to choose between chemo treatment or the baby.
Right.
And it's like
Yeah.
there are people do get like addicted to all kinds of things, like including like, you know, attention or lying and like
Yeah.
and so it is something like deeper, and so I'm like I think I always have sympathy for the devil.
Yeah. I can't. This one, she was just a little too grown
Yeah, I
for me, a
know, I
little too
know.
grown, a little too successful, and in the sphere, like when you reach a certain level of success,
Yeah,
you do have some kind of sphere of someone around you somewhere, even if it's like one person that you walk past, like has the ability to point you in the right direction to something healthy and a healthier
mm,
way to do something. Like there's people who don't have access to like mental health resources, or you know what I mean, like a yoga studio or whatever. There's people who just don't have the money or resources, or you know even just geographically they're nowhere near any of that stuff. And so I don't know. I mean, this is kind of, didn't she have like write-ups about her illness and stuff like that?
a lot. She wrote like first person essays for Elle, and like she said she went to the Mayo Clinic, and she,
Mm.
you know, like just I mean she did go to it, like she walked into it, and just wandered around the hallways.
Sheesh.
But yeah, it's such a strange thing,
What's the name of the doc again?
Anatomy of Lies. She lied about
Anatomy
all of it.
of
Anatomy of Lies.
Lies.
Anatomy of
Jesus. Okay,
Lies. Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
watch
like,
that.
yeah. And I mean, I really do feel for her, like, ex-wife too, because I just feel for the kids. Like, the oldest daughter missed her senior year of high school because she was told that her stepmom couldn't risk getting COVID because she was on chemo.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
Just
like
ruining children's
just
lives
ruining children's
with your lies for
lives
no reason.
for no
Oh my
reason, for
god.
no
You
reason.
know how much real shit people are going through in
I
society,
know,
just
I
all over,
know.
just not society, just your block. Like
Yeah,
where like within half a
I
mile of
know.
you, there's someone actually going through chemotherapy, through
Yes.
this kind of trauma,
Yeah.
that kind of trauma. Um
Yeah.
and you don't have to absorb people who lie like strictly for the sake of lying. Like there's people
Yeah.
who lie at that kind of like in the public eye level where I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how you or someone else is benefiting from this in some tangible way or
Yeah.
some, whatever. But that is like deep when you just,
Yeah.
when you purely lie for sympathy and that kind of
Well,
deep lie.
yeah. The weird thing though is that like, people are like, yeah, but why would you do this? And people are like, well, this was also like, where like this is like this sort of semi shift. Let's call it like a skosh, like in Hollywood too, where people are like, oh, well, like, you have to have the lived experience to write something. So no matter what the topic was, she would say, like, I have that experience,
Mm.
you know? Um, so it's like
Mm.
she getting cancer, having this
Whew.
rare cancer, like got her the job on Grey's,
Okay,
you know?
wow. That's like something I don't believe in, okay? But just follow
Yeah.
me. We're gonna
Yeah.
go into the
Yeah.
into the ether
We're
real quick.
going. Yeah.
Have you heard of destiny swapping?
No.
Okay, this is a concept for anyone, someone, I'm sure somebody in the
Okay.
chat knows this stuff. The people who are into astrology and this thing and that thing. There's a concept where someone, like parallel universes and the multiverse and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone can basically in the fourth dimension or fifth, I don't know, some other dimension, they can go and spiritually steal your destiny basically or like swap yours for theirs.
No.
Um and though I don't believe that because I mean that doesn't even make any sense because to me it's like destiny has to
Yeah.
be what does happen, not what was
Yeah.
supposed to happen, if
Almost
that makes sense.
happened. Yeah.
But at the same time, this is like her version of practically trying to steal
Yeah.
someone's destiny. It's like, hey, let me just steal your trauma and use it for myself. And then
Yeah. 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 And
but
and
she's
like, oh,
tangibly benefiting. That's
I know. And she
crazy.
took parts of like her like her wife's story and like claimed them for her own. So her wife's ex-husband dies by suicide, and Elizabeth sends this email to Grey's Anatomy to hold the whole staff that says, "My brother just attempted suicide and he's in a coma.
Mm.
I have to go take him off life support or something." I was like, okay, okay. So it's like I
Mm.
don't know. It's just really, it's so dark and so odd. And she did post this apology to her Instagram account, but there's also like some wording in it where I was like, I don't think you had to say that. And she said like, oh, I really fell in love with Jennifer, and we were 3 days into dating, and she proposed to me with like, a, a ring made out of flowers. But it's like she proposed to Jennifer months later, weeks later, or whatever, with like a Cartier ring, right? So it's like maybe in that early like few days, like she was like, oh my God, we should get married. Like I don't know. It's like you say stuff when you're falling in love. Like I don't think it's a real
Yeah.
proposal. But also, you didn't have to put that in there because she was proposing to somebody who wasn't real. Like you can't minimize the part where it's like, well, you got her to fall in love with you, and she thought that you had cancer and you had, cleaned up a terrorist attack. Like so she whatever like she fell in love with you, she fell in love with something that wasn't real, and like
Mm.
just like that sentence in it, I was like, you didn't have to put that in, but you're putting that in because you want people to know like that this woman liked you too. Well, she didn't really like you because she didn't know you.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. Some people, I'm not gonna lie,
yeah.
it doesn't scare me, the weird
Okay.
darkness of this, but some people I just would prefer not to be around.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't even want to go to that realm of thought where
Yeah. Yeah.
you devise all this stuff and you
Mm-hmm.
um and then you like supplant now you're like adding Nora to yeah Nora
Yeah.
loved me this whole time.
Yeah. It's
It's
like
like
it's
no
like,
she
well,
didn't.
yeah. Well, it's like,
She
yeah, she
loved
got
the
married to you. She got married to you. Like, no one's disputing
right
that. Like, you
right
two were married, but it's like, it's not, it, the pain that she's experiencing is the fact that like she married somebody who wasn't real. Like
Mm,
that's what she's reacting to, right? Like she's reacting to the fact that she dragged her kids into a
right.
relationship that
Right.
wasn't real, you know? Like so yeah, it's only 3 parts, so it's like 3 hours long and it didn't drag, it didn't feel like they were just like revisiting the same stuff. Um
Okay.
and there's interviews with like people who worked with her and uh you know, but it's like to be her brother and be like, the fuck? Why are you telling people like it's
Woo!
a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So,
As a friend of mine
um,
would say, there will be a cold day in hell, or not a cold day in hell. There's a hot place in hell for something to do with
yeah.
hell. There's a hot place in hell saved
Uh,
for a woman like you.
I'm like, yeah, I
Um,
just, it's like when like if you've seen somebody like really going through cancer and cancer treatment, you're like, all they would wish for is to never experience that. So to like see somebody cosplay it
hmm,
is so,
strange, man.
yeah, it's like, oh God, don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, that's my trending topic. How exciting. Do you have one?
I got a few.
Okay.
E. coli outbreak at McDonald's. Anyone does
That's
is
bad
anyone
news for me.
is anyone still
That's bad news for me.
purchasing quarter pounders?
No, 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 just fries.
I I used to go and get the breakfast, the biscuit, egg,
Oh,
and cheese, but then I stopped getting the cheese, and I
okay.
was like, oh, I'm being healthier. I'm not getting the
Yeah,
cheese on the on the biscuit egg
yeah.
sandwich with the greasy hash browns.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Um,
The only problem is the cheese.
three times, 2 3 times a week. I'm like, what am I doing? This was just like
Yeah.
a dark period. I remember us being on tour in San Francisco and going to the McDonald's for the goddamn. I was like, what am I doing? What am I
What
doing?
are we doing? What are we doing? We're in a beautiful city. I ate McDonald's. I ate a burger, fries, and a Coke almost every day of tour.
Yes,
Yeah,
but that was acceptable at the
yeah.
moment.
It was. We didn't know. We had paid the piper at a later date. Okay, we didn't know.
Oh shit. Yeah, we ate a lot of burger. But and hold up, you said a beautiful city. San Francisco, no disrespect to any
Yeah. No,
San
I actually think it's
Franciscans
gross.
here. There was a lot going on in that McDonald's, okay? There was
Mhm.
like a lot. Just
I don't like San Francisco. I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's cold and damp and icky.
it, it's there's something going on there, you
Yeah.
know? I tried to go and get sushi with my father-in-law and there was just some guy just like yelling at it. I don't like there's just a lot going on and I don't feel protected in San Francisco. Um so yeah, if you do, this is multiple states. I
Yeah.
think 49 people
What?
in 10 states at so far. This is as of I think 2 days, yesterday, day before
Yikes.
yesterday.
Okay.
10 states, including Wisconsin and Iowa, not Minnesota yet, but 49 people in 10 states have gotten sick allegedly, and this is according to NBC. One person has died. So just be careful with the quarter pounders. Be
Mm,
careful with the quarter pounders, as if heart disease was not enough. You now
yeah.
have E. coli.
Which is
Um,
like that's poop, right?
Yeah, E. coli is shit. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I
No.
can say shit this far into the thing. It's the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Okay. No swear. We already swore like within the first, I think, 60 seconds. And I was like, no, don't do that. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's bad news. But I don't eat the meat. I don't eat the meat. I'm just there for the
The
fries.
salad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna miss the salad shakers. Okay, I miss the salad shakers.
The fries are pretty good. I think
Yeah.
as I've over time, they're not, I just don't like them as much. I like a thicker cut
Yeah.
um a fry, more like Burger King but better tasting. I like
Yeah.
a more solid fry. I feel like McDonald's fries are too
Thin. They're real
thin and
narrow.
spongy. Yeah, real
Yeah.
just So, but they are sweet and full of salt,
Mm,
and we all
that's the
love
best part.
a good salting.
I really
Um,
do. God, that's all I want. I'm here for salt. I'm here for sodium and sugar.
Also, RIP Denny's. You know they close
Yeah.
150 locations, or they're closing 150 of them. RIP
The,
Denny's. I mean,
I
when
mean,
can
I
we
wouldn't
get?
go, but yeah, but I want it there. I don't want to go there, but I want to live in a world that still has Denny's. Okay.
Listen, I want to be able to sit down with
Yeah.
a dirty fork and
And the world's
and
worst coffee
and coffee that just like that
is
causes
gray.
ulcers.
It's gray. Why is the coffee gray? Okay. Why when you add cream to the coffee does it turn gray? I
It's
can
not
taste
real
that coffee
syrup.
right here.
Right.
Mm, mm,
You
mm.
can't even put cream in it. Just like you just have
Yeah.
to drink it because it's just burning a hole in your
Yeah,
throat.
it's bad. It's bad. There's a Denny's bot. We drive by it every day on the way to school, and I'm always like, and it's hopping. People are at that Denny's, so maybe that one will
Mm,
survive. But I can't remember going to a Denny's.
yeah, Denny's
We're
is.
Perkins people.
I was both. I mean, I'm a Perkins person. If I have to
Yeah.
pick, obviously. I mean,
Oh,
who picks
yes.
Denny's
Yeah.
Denny's over
No one.
Perkins? It's like football team after practice. You go to Denny's on Lake
Yeah.
Street. Just and yeah, like I said, if there's not if you put your hands on the table, there's not
It's gotta be sticky.
some sticky table or something like that. If that doesn't go on, then you're not at the proper
You're not
Denny's.
at a
So
Denny's.
yeah, you're not at a
You're not at
Denny's.
a Denny's. Yeah. If your waitress isn't actively smoking a cigarette, even though it hasn't been legal to smoke
Right?
inside,
In like 20 years or something.
yeah, then you're not really at a Denny's. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
oh man, your kids are gonna grow up in a world without Denny's. How does that
without
feel?
Denny's, man. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Denny's. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We already lost
And that
Ruby Tuesday. Okay.
wait, Ruby Tuesday?
I think so. I think it's all gone. There was one at my mall growing up, and it was like that salad bar. I don't think Ruby Tuesday
Okay.
still exists. I'm going to verify that. I don't want to. If Ruby Tuesday is watching this right now,
Going the
um,
way of Toys R Us. Just
oh, okay, they still have locations. Okay, well
okay. They still have
okay.
a few.
That's oh, wow, they have quite a lot of fake of locations. So that was rude of me. But they don't have any in Arizona. Okay, they don't have any in Minnesota anymore.
uh, they're still competing with the Cheesecake
Yeah, they're in South
Factory.
Dakota, Pennsylvania, Florida, Tennessee,
Mm,
Alabama,
mm,
Georgia, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio. Yeah, that's like they've got their places.
okay. Okay. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, Grace is right. Pour one out for Denny's, and, and we're still gonna pour one out for Ruby Tuesday, even though
Yeah, because
it's
because there's none near me. There's none near me. Okay.
oh man. The Abercrombie and Fitch CEO. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Exploiting I- was it 8 male sex workers?
Yeah. Yeah.
He he he's a nasty. There's a lot of nasty
Yeah.
boys coming out this
But you know what?
year.
Okay, I'm gonna direct everyone again to the show Corporate Gossip because
Mm,
she posted a TikTok about this and like these allegations go back. This man lost his job. He didn't lose his job because of the allegations. He lost his job because of the stock price. So the way that these organizations will keep someone as long as they're making money, even if they are breaking the law, being horrible people, is like really shocking. And the signs were all there, Marcel, because while you were a child, I was a teenager, and we
mm,
were being marketed to by this guy who was like, wait, I know how to bring this company back. We're going to put shirtless guys outside of every store and they're going to be hot,
mm.
you know.
Okay.
And we're going to put out a catalog that actually doesn't show the clothes. It's just going to be hot dudes. Like
With no shirt. They didn't even got the shirts
they
in
don't even
the
have the shirts
catalog.
on. They don't even have the shirts on. It's like
That's
the
crazy.
signs were all there. The signs were all there, and we were like, oh well, what are you gonna do? I guess hmm, huh. So yeah,
One of the now it's he I believe his hold let me make sure because this
yeah,
is some serious stuff. There
yeah.
are two other men who have been arrested. Um yes, his partner Matt Smith. The two of them are allegedly freak body boys, okay? But the third suspect, James Mrs. Cook Jacobson, is
Okay.
was arrested in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh
So yeah, that's an L for
boy, that's
Minnesotans.
an L for Minnesota.
We have a we have an alleged. Oh, I thought it was 8 victims.
No,
Whoa.
how much is that? Like
Whoa. At least
80?
15 were coerced into using alcohol and
Oh,
drugs like Viagra
mm,
to engage in acts they were, quote, incapable, or, quote, unwilling of taking part in between 2008 and 2015.
uh,
Sheesh. So that's just in a short amount of time. I mean, that's like
yeah.
7 years. Imagine what they have been
Ugh.
doing. So yeah, Mrs. Cook, James Jacobson, um, from St. Paul. So
James Jacobs. I gotta look this up.
yeah, yeah, man. Freaky. Um, Yeah, man, all these people who are abusing their power, need to be I think this is the year, man. I
It
mean,
might
it's
be the
been
year.
for these last few years we've been trying to get rid of it. I don't think everything, but I think like a lot of these people it's like, dude, you just got to go, man. Like you're 80 years old out here uh brutalizing young people.
Uh,
Yeah, you just got to be out of here, man. And
uh,
do you
uh,
think, let me ask you a question. In these cases, how do you think Abercrombie plays into this in terms of, retribution, restitution? I don't know what the word would be, but shouldn't they have to pay out
I
victims in
wonder.
some way, or remedy, be a part of the remedy to the victims if they're like, you know, upholding this person who had rumors or you know allegations in the past? Shouldn't they be a part of?
You would hope so.
Okay,
You would
yeah,
hope so, like, right? But I think they'll be like, well, we had no idea, and it wasn't, like now he doesn't work for us. So like, but he was doing it as he was using his position there as leverage. So I would think so. I would
mm.
think so. Yeah, he was. I mean, because he was the CEO from 1992 to 2014. And again,
Damn.
these things started like these allegations go back to 2009. I do think like it's very hard to believe that anything can exist like fully in a vacuum. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't it feel
Yeah,
like, I don't know. You and I have heard things about leaders, places. It's like people talk,
yep, yep.
people talk,
heard
people
heard
talk.
things about
Yep.
people and their and their grandfather's cowboy boots. Yeah, 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 I'm on you, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
be just
yeah,
be mighty. That's the problem, man. And you
yeah,
know what? It sounds like funny, and obviously we're live, we're talking
yeah.
to people,
Oh God,
somewhat.
my
So
hair's so
part of this is
tingly.
entertainment, but it's not. This
No,
isn't funny. People get
I
put in
know.
really really bad
Yes.
positions, even in. I'm gonna be
Yep.
real mindful about how I say this, but listen, not me,
Yeah.
because
Not
I
you.
don't
You
think.
are very discerning. I will say that. It would
Well,
be
no,
hard to.
I think people get placed. Anyone could be placed in a situation, though. Hold
Yeah.
on. So
Yes,
let me
that's
be
true. That's true.
careful.
I'm not
But
victim blaming. Yes.
but what I'm saying is there's certain things, certain offers and
Yeah.
things of that sort that even happen in public radio.
Yeah. Yeah. All in nonprofits and all kinds of places that you would just,
All over the place. So
yeah.
don't think that it's and
No.
uh
It's not just sexy companies marketing to teenagers. Like
yeah,
it's,
look,
yeah.
John said it perfectly. So many smaller level HR things with my former company, you don't get away from that. It's just they'll settle and you will not hear about it.
Mm,
Yeah, and in some cases people don't even like settle like yeah, and trying to keep it I mean cuz people need jobs
yeah.
the power dynamic
Yeah.
thing is real. I just think that it's like a lot of times we think of like entertainment, right? So it's like easy to be like, "Oh, Diddy
Yeah.
did this," and like blah blah blah, or Harvey Weinstein, but it's right in your own backyard, in your own little
Yep.
uh place,
Yeah.
and sometimes like specifically journalism, man. I'm just gonna say people gotta be more scrutinous. Is it scrutinous? You gotta be more
Sure.
scrutinous of these outlets, man,
Yeah.
because it happens even in the places that are telling the stories of these entertainers.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
So
it does. Yes, it does.
so we'll leave
We'll leave you with that. We'll leave you with that.
we'll leave
What
you
is,
with that.
hold on, what's our very last thing? It's,
Oh, oh no, there's the smoke break. What was the smoke break thing about? The guilty.
oh,
What
I
was
was going
that
to call
about?
that was like bringing up like a guilty pleasure of some kind. Uh, but I don't really have one for this week.
You said something that is good. That is what? That
Oh,
is
like a guilty pleasure, like something that's like, not the best for you, but that you like anyways.
Yeah, I don't have very many guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
I have been working on guilt, because guilt is
Mm,
that is just a
yeah,
nasty, nasty
it
feeling.
is. It is.
And listen, if I want to have a gluten-free Trader Joe's take and bake cookie, okay,
You're gonna do it.
then I'm gonna have one. If I want
Yeah.
to what's another thing? If I want to play video game, that's my main thing now is like video games or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
same.
listen, I could be doing um this is gonna well, oh yeah. So circling it I could be doing pink
Yeah.
cocaine,
Yeah.
okay? I could be down at Brothers Bar I don't know, throwing darts at people or something like that. Like I could be going crazy. I don't even think Brothers Bar is
Yeah.
still open,
It's,
but
I don't think it is either.
I could be doing a lot worse. So playing a little
It's
video
true.
game here and there, eating the take and bake cookie. Sometimes
Yeah.
I like a steak, a red meat or something like that, just like a steak or something like that, or things like that.
Oh,
So
I had
I
a
don't
steak
know.
last night. I had a steak last night. It was perfect. It was perfect. Then I had dessert too at the restaurant. And then I had this where I was like, oh, can I have like a decaf coffee? I don't think they gave me decaf. I don't think they did. I think
No,
that's why I was up till 2. I had 2
I
cups
don't
of
think
coffee.
decaf exists.
I was zooming. I was zooming. I was like, okay, well, I tried to go to bed at a normal time. So maybe I will tonight because my flight is at 8 a.m. tomorrow, which means I have to get up very early to get to the airport. And I think Friday morning flights are like usually pretty busy. People, going places for the weekend. Next steps, Marcel. Next
Yeah.
steps. We are going to have, well, I guess we have 2 weeks, but we'll be back here Thursday. Be back
Yep.
here Thursday. The Patreon is patreon.com/TTFA. And on November 5th, we are going to be putting out a 2-hour long election distraction episode. It is just 2 hours of gabbing, chatting, me and Kate Kennedy from Be There in 5, just talking. And then there'll be 2 extra hours on her Patreon too, because you might need something to prevent the doom scroll of it all. And in the meantime, we have an entire week of episodes on It's Going to Be Okay from Emily Annick and Sammy Sage that are just like soothing, reassuring election content, right? Like something to sort of like ground you before like, the real, I mean, I think we're kind of in like the election lunacy, but I think election day is like a little bit more fraught than
Yeah.
than typically. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Those are our next steps. And I will see you next Thursday. But I will be back in the studio. I will not be at this dismal Airbnb, where then I got a checkout email today. What do you think my jobs are before I leave here?
Take the trash out and put stuff in the
Strip the
laundry.
bed. I was like, do the dishes. I was like, I use 2 cups. I'm not washing the cups.
Mm. Yeah, that's the one I
I,
might disagree with you. The dishes are like the one thing I think that you
yeah,
should do, and
yeah.
everything else is like, no, I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
that. But
it's just 2 cups. I'm like, What are you talking about?" And then it
yeah,
was like,
throw them in
"Put
the
anything." I was
washer.
like,
Yeah.
and it's like, I think I'm gonna, because the guy who owns it is not the person managing it. And I think I might just send him a message. And be like, I might want to know this if I owned this place. Like, this table wobbles. You can't even use it. Like, it's useless. The carpet is dirty. Like, it's physically dirty. I don't want to take my socks off. There's carpet in the
Mm.
bedroom. It's stained. Stained. It's icky. It's icky. You know.
Yeah, and not
And it's
stained glass window stained.
No, and it's like a small room. I'm like, it would cost $200 to put in new carpet, you know?
well, you went for the deal.
I went for the deal, and you know what? I thought I got a deal. The deal got me, and that's something to remember. That's something to remember.
Mm.
Thank you for being here. This is office hours. We do it every Thursday. Um, our patrons get like all 4 weeks of it. But 3 out of 4 of those weeks of the month. I don't know how to explain this. I'm not really good at explaining things, but office hours is us helping you waste a part of your workday. Okay.
Yeah.
It's always at the same time because, and some people have been like, can you do it on the weekends? No, we're going to do it during the weekday. Okay. Because this is my workday too. Okay. And it's Marcel's. And I used to
Hmm.
do everything on the weekends to make it easier for other people, but now I'm practicing something called work boundaries. So
Weenie.
I'm a weenie. Okay. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week, same time. But if you want all of our podcast episodes and other stuff, you can go to our Patreon, which should be linked in the description, but I don't know if it is. So we'll find out.
Yeah, and if
All
not,
right.
don't.
Yeah. Oh, also, feel like I should do a better job at like introducing you because Marcel Malakibu has been a producer here for 6 years, but a lot of people don't know his
Yeah.
face. So,
Yes, yeah. My name is Marcel Malakibu. I'm just
yeah,
a dude who plays with his computer and makes sounds and stuff like
that's it.
that. So,
That's it. That's
yeah,
his whole job.
that's it. Yep.
All right. Bye, dude.
Peace.
Thank you.
All